Hello everybody, welcome to a 2022 election night, and it's what if Donald Trump decided to go with a third party option, the Patriot Party. That was weird. It is now 7 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. This is a surprising call, but at the same time it shouldn't be due to the Republican Party splitting the votes. Out of the Georgia Senate race, we can project that Raphael Warnock will win re-election, winning very easily, as Republicans nominated Gary Black and the Patriot Party nominated Herschel Walker, splitting the right-wing vote. Out of the Indiana Senate race, that is currently too close to call. Senator Todd Young and Congressman Jim Banks currently tied at the top, with Mayor McDermott at the bottom at 33%. At the Kentucky Senate race, we can now project that Senator Rand Paul will win re-election, this time under the Patriot Party. Out of the South Carolina Senate race, that is currently too close to call. Tim Scott, the incumbent senator, running under the Republican Party, currently leading. Out of the Vermont Senate race, that is currently too close to call. Out of the Vermont Senate race, Patrick Leahy will win re-election. Here's the current Senate map thus far. Democrats have 38 seats. Republicans have 30, and the Patriot Party has 1, with two close to call seats left. We now have some projections out of the governor races. Out of the Georgia governor race, again another surprise here, as we're calling it this early, but Georgia will go to the Democrats. This is a gain for them. Stacey Abrams is the projected winner. Republicans nominated Brian Kemp and Patriot Party nominated Vernon Jones. Stacey Abrams was able to sweep this election. Out of the South Carolina governor race, another gain for Democrats. Joe Cunningham is the projected winner. Out of the Vermont governor race, despite the vote splitting, Phil Scott is still projected to win this election very easily. Here's the current governor map with 9 Democrats, 8 Republicans, and 0 Patriots, with 0 states too close to call. It is now 7:30 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. At the North Carolina Senate race, another gain for Democrats. Cherry Beasley is the projected winner. Out of the Ohio Senate race, another gain for Democrats. Tim Ryan is the projected winner. He will go to the Senate in January. Out of the Indiana Senate race, is currently still too close to call. Jim Banks currently leading right now, as Todd Young has dropped to 3rd. The South Carolina Senate race, still too close to call. Tim Scott currently still leading. Here's the current Senate map thus far. We have 40 Democrats, 30 Republicans, and 1 Patriot, and with 2 states too close to call. Now I have some projections out of the governor races. A gain for Democrats in Ohio. John Cranley, the Cincinnati mayor, will win the governorship from Mike DeWine and Jim Renacci. He will be Ohio's next governor. That is the only projection we have to make, and here's the current governor map. Democrats have 10 seats to Republicans 8 to Patriot 0, with 0 states too close to call. It is now 8 p.m. We have a slew of states to call. Out of the Alabama Senate race, we can project that this is a gain for the Patriot Party. Mo Brooks is the projected winner in Alabama. Out of the Connecticut Senate race, Richard Blumenthal will win re-election to the Senate. Out of the Florida Senate race, a net gain for Democrats. Big shocker. Val Demings has defeated both Marco Rubio and Brian Mast in the general. At the Illinois Senate race, Tammy Duckworth will win re-election to the Senate. Out of the Maryland Senate race, Chris Van Hollen will win re-election. Out of the Missouri Senate race, it's currently too close to call. Scott Sifton, the Democrat, currently leading his right-winged opponents, Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler, and Mark McCloskey, an attorney. Out of the New Hampshire Senate race, Maggie Hassan is the projected winner, winning re-election to the Senate. Republicans were hoping this would be closer, but due to the Patriot Party's forming, SUNUNU decided to opt out of the Senate race to run for re-election to the governor seat. Out of the Oklahoma Senate race, that's currently too close to call. Pastor Jackson LaMayor currently leading over his 2 opponents. Out of the Pennsylvania Senate race, another gain for Democrats. John Fetterman is the projected winner. Again, it's shocking that we're calling all these states so closely, but out of the numbers we have, we are confident to say that these projections will be accurate due to the major vote splitting from the 2 major right-wing parties. Out of the South Carolina Senate race, we can now make a projection. Tim Scott will win re-election to the Senate, though it was very, very narrow. Out of the Indiana Senate race, still too close to call. Jim Banks currently still leading his two opponents. Here's the current Senate map thus far. Democrats have 46 seats, 4 away from retaining their majority. Republicans have 31 seats, and Patriots have 2 seats, with 3 states too close to call. We now have some governor projections. Out of the Alabama governor race, Kay Ivey will handedly win re-election despite the Patriot Party's the Patriot Party nominated a very controversial candidate in Pastor Dean Odle. He couldn't get enough support out from the rural areas, which Kay Ivey had plenty of support from, which led to Kay Ivey sweeping this election. At the Connecticut governor race, a seat that Republicans were hoping to flip without the Patriot Party and before the Patriot Party was formed, though it does seem like Ned Lamont will win this election very handily, winning 48% of the vote. Out of the Florida governor race, Ron DeSantis, despite vote splitting from the Republicans and them nominating Mayor Francis Suarez, Ron DeSantis will still win this election very handedly with his popularity. Out of the Illinois governor race, J.B. Pritzker. This race was supposed to be closer, but we can now project that Pritzker will win re-election to the governorship. Out of the Maine governorship, Janet Mills will win re-election. There will be no ranked choice voting involved, as she is projected to get over 50% of the vote. Out of the Maryland governor race, this is a gain for Democrats, as John Delaney, who narrowly beat out Tom Perez in the primary, will go on to become the next governor of Maryland. Out of the Massachusetts governor race, Charlie Baker is still expected to win re-election. He was still expected to win re-election by many, and it seems like he's going to win very narrowly against his Democrat and Patriot Party opponents, more so the Democrat side of things, but he will be slated to win re-election. Out of the New Hampshire governor race, is currently too close to call. Chris Sununu has a huge lead over his two opponents right now, though it is still too close to call. Out of the Oklahoma governor race, I can project that Kevin Stitt is the projected winner, despite the Republicans nominating Irvin Yen, a very popular Asian American within Oklahoma. It was still not enough for them to win this seat, or possibly screwing out Kevin Stitt out of the seat and making Democrats have in Oklahoma have a Democrat governor, though Kevin Stitt will still win re-election. Out of the Pennsylvania governorship, Josh Shapiro is the projected winner. The Attorney General of Pennsylvania will go on to become the governor of Pennsylvania. Out of the Rhode Island governorship, Dan McKee will win this seat, will go on to serve his first full term to the governorship. He succeeded the current Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo to succeed to the governorship, and he will go on to win very handedly in this governor race. Out of the Tennessee governor race, we can project that BILLIE under the Patriot Party will win re-election. Here is the current governor map thus far. Democrats have 15 seats, Republicans have 10 seats, and the Patriot Party has 3 seats so far, with one race still too close to call, and that being New Hampshire. It is now 8:30 p.m. We now have the poll closings out of Arkansas, as the Arkansas Senate race is projected to go to John Boozman. John Boozman was offered to run under the Patriot Party, though he refused, and it seems like despite that, they ran Jan Morgan, who was not popular enough to outbeat Boozman, and Democrats didn't nominate anyone at all, so this was just a two-way race between Boozman and Morgan. But we now have some calls out of some other Senate races. Out of the Oklahoma Senate race, a gain for the Patriot Party. Jackson LaMayer is projected to go into the Senate, defeating James Langford very handedly, as well as Bevan Rogers. The Indiana Senate race is still too close to call. Jim Banks still leading his two opponents. Out of the Missouri Senate race, still too close to call. Scott Sifton still leading his two opponents. Here's the current Senate map thus far. Democrats have 46 seats, 4 away from retaining their majority. Republicans have 32 seats. The Patriot Party has 3 seats. And we have 2 too close to call states, that being Indiana and Missouri. We now have some governor projections out of the governor race. Arkansas. Sarah Sanders will go on to become the next governor of Arkansas. She is the daughter of former Governor Mike Huckabee, and so she will go on to become the next governor under the Patriot Party. We now also have a call of the New Hampshire governor race. Chris Sununu will win re-election to the governorship, defeating out popular Mayor Joyce Craig, as well as Trump advisor Corey Lewandowski. He will go on to serve his 4th term, if I'm not mistaken, to the governorship. Here is the current governor map so far. We have 15 Democrats, 11 Republicans, and 4 Patriot Party, 4 Patriots all on this map thus far. It is now 9 p.m. and we have another slew of states to call. Out of the Arizona Senate race, again, shocking that we're calling it this early, but Mark Kelly is the projected winner. Republicans nominated Mark Brnovich, and the Patriots nominated Andy Biggs, and they split the vote pretty hard, with both of them getting into the low 30s. Mark Kelly is expected to win this election with 49% of the vote. Out of the Colorado Senate race, Michael Bennett is projected to win re-election. Out of the Kansas Senate race, it is currently too close to call. Incumbent Senator Jerry Moran, who's very popular in Kansas, is currently leading his two opponents. The Patriot Party nominated former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who's considering a gubernatorial run, but Trump pushed him to run for Senate instead. Out of the Louisiana Senate race, currently too close to call. Currently, John Bel Edwards is leading his two opponents, though he needs 50% of the vote in order for this not to go to a runoff, though it doesn't seem likely he will get over 50%. Out of the New York Senate race, Chuck Schumer, the majority leader, will go on to win re-election and most likely go on to continue being the majority leader after tonight is over with. Out of the North Dakota Senate race, John Hoeven will win re-election under the Republican Party. Out of the South Dakota Senate race is currently too close to call. Billy Sutton, the 2018 gubernatorial nominee for Democrats, is now running for Senate, currently leading his two opponents. Out of the Wisconsin Senate race, a big gain for Democrats. Sarah Godlewski will go on to the Senate, winning this seat handily, winning 48 to 49% of the vote. But we can now make a projection that the Senate majority will stay with the Democrats. The Democrats is expected to make huge gains, and hopefully that they're hoping for is a filibuster-proof majority, which is what MSNBC is predicting, that they will get a supermajority at the end of tonight. Though us here at Chaotic Politics is very skeptical of that. Out of the Indiana Senate race, currently too close to call. Thomas McDermott, a Democrat, now leading over his two opponents. This would be huge for the Democratic Party if Thomas McDermott Jr. is able to win this seat. Out of the Missouri Senate race, currently too close to call. Scott Sifton still leading his two opponents. Here is the current map so far. We have 51 Democrats, which already nets them a net one gain if they were to lose every single seat to either Republicans or Patriots. Republicans have 33 seats, and the Patriot Party has 3 seats, with 5 seats too close to call. That being South Dakota, Kansas, Missouri, Louisiana, and Indiana. We now have some governor projections out of Arizona. A big gain here for Democrats. Katie Hobbs will go on to secede from Secretary of State to governor in this election. Out of the Colorado governor race, Jared Polis will go on to win re-election. Out of the Kansas governor race, Laura Kelly, who was expected to lose, but again due to vote splitting, she is now expected to win big, winning 45% of the vote to win re-election. Laura Kelly will go on to win re-election. Out of the Michigan governor race, Whitmer was expected to be in some tight waters against James Craig, but due to the vote splitting between James Craig and Brian Calley, she's expected to win this race with 49% of the vote. Gretchen Whitmer is the projected winner, going on to win re-election. Out of the Minnesota governor race, Tim Walz is the projected winner, winning re-election. Out of the Nebraska governor race, too close to call. Former Governor Dave Heineman is currently leading his two opponents. Out of the New Mexico governor race, Michelle Lujan Grisham will go on to win re-election. Out of the New York governor race, after a tight primary race against Ron Kim and Bill de Blasio, the two who splitted the anti-Cuomo vote led Andrew Cuomo to win the primary with only 40% of the vote. Andrew Cuomo is the projected winner to go on to win his 4th term as the governor of New York. Though some say he shouldn't, but it is what it is. Out of the South Dakota governor race, it is currently too close to call. Incumbent Governor Kristi Noem leading her two opponents. Out of the Texas governor race, it is currently too close to call. Beto O'Rourke is currently leading his two opponents. Out of the Wisconsin governor race, Tony Evers is projected to win re-election to a 2nd term. Out of the Wyoming governor race, Mark Gordon is the projected winner in this race, though Patriot Party failed to run a successful nominee, and Mark Gordon is just way too popular, being cited as the most popular governor in the country. Here's the current governor map so far. Democrats have 24 seats, 2 away from a majority, which would be historic for them, as they have not held the majority in 12 years. Republicans have 12 seats, and the Patriot Party has 4 seats, with 3 seats too close to call, that being South Dakota, Nebraska, and Texas. It is now 10 p.m., and the following states have poll closings. Out of the Iowa Senate race, Chuck Grassley is the projected winner. Patriot Party ran a pretty good candidate in Matthew Whitaker, though it wasn't enough, as Chuck Grassley is just way too popular in the state of Iowa for any sort of vote splitting to matter. Out of the Nevada Senate race, Catherine Cortez Masto is projected to win re-election. This seat was supposed to be a lot closer, but either way, Catherine Cortez Masto is still going to go on to the Senate. Out of the Utah Senate race, currently too close to call, Mike Lee, who is running under the Patriot Party, is currently leading his two opponents. We now have a call of the Missouri Senate race. A big gain for Democrats, as Scott Sifton is the projected winner in Missouri, which is a big gain since we haven't had a Democratic senator out of Missouri since before 2018. Out of the Kansas Senate race, Jerry Morin still projected to go on to win re-election to his Senate seat. Out of the South Dakota Senate race, still too close to call, Billy Sutton still leading his two opponents. The Indiana Senate race, too close to call, Jim Banks taking back the lead over his two opponents. The Louisiana Senate race, too close to call, John Bel Edwards currently leading right now, though not as much as he was hoping by. And here's the current Senate map so far. Democrats have 53 seats, a net gain of 3 so far for them. Republicans have 35 seats, the Patriot Party has 3 seats, and there are 4 too close to call races, that being Utah, South Dakota, Indiana, and Louisiana. Out of the Iowa governor race, big gains for Democrats. Ross Smith is the projected winner, going on to, I think, become the first black governor of Iowa. Out of the Nevada governor race, Steve Sisolak projected to win re-election. Similar to the Senate race, this was supposed to be closer, though Sisolak will go on to win with around 51% of the vote. And we can now make a huge call. The majority for the governorships, again, will go on to the Democrat Party. The Democrat chair, Roy Cooper, the Democrat chair, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, is representing the Democrats, as why he's pictured. And for the first time in 12 years, Democrats have the majority of seats in the governor races. We can now make a huge announcement out of Texas. For years, Democrats have been salivating blue Texas, and it has happened tonight, though, under very weird ways. Beto O'Rourke, only with 39% of the vote, is going to become the next governor of Texas. He's the projected winner, going on to become the first Democrat governor since Ann Richards. Out of the Nebraska governor race, it's currently too close to call. Bob Christ is now leading, which would be huge for Democrats if they were to flip Nebraska's governor seat. Out of the South Dakota governor race, it's currently too close to call. Kristi Noem still leading her two opponents. Here's the current governor map so far. Democrats have 27 seats. Republicans have 12. The Patriot Party has 4. And we have 2 seats that are too close to call, that being South Dakota and Nebraska. It is now 11 p.m. We now have calls out of the following states. Out of the California Senate race, Alex Padilla is projected to go on to win another term to the Senate. Out of the Hawaii Senate race, Brian Schatz is the projected winner, going on to serve another term in the Senate. Idaho is currently too close to call. Raul Labrador is currently leading his two opponents. Out of the Oregon Senate race, Ron Wyden is projected to win re-election. Out of the Washington Senate race, Patty Murray is projected to go serve another term in the Senate. We now have a call of the South Dakota Senate race. Big news for Democrats. Billy Sutton has flipped the seat blue. He's the projected winner, which is huge for Democrats, gaining them another seat. But bad news in Utah. Mike Lee is still projected to go on to win re-election under the Patriot Party. Republicans were hoping to win this state, as it is a big never-Trumper state. However, Mike Lee is still going on to win re-election, possibly due to name recognition. Who knows? Out of the Louisiana Senate race, we have just called this. It will go on to a runoff. John Bel Edwards and John Neely Kennedy will go on to a runoff 2 weeks from now, which many are expecting to go to Kennedy, but this is bad news for Democrats. They needed 50% of the vote in order to not go to a runoff, though either way, this will go off to a runoff. Many are expecting the Patriot Party to hold on to this seat. Out of the Indiana Senate race, still too close to call. Jim Banks still leading his two opponents. Here is the current Senate map so far. We have 57 Democrats so far, 3 away from a filibuster-proof majority. Here's what they need. They need to win Idaho, and they need to win 4 out of these 3 seats that have not been called yet: Idaho, Indiana, Louisiana, and Alaska. They can afford to lose 1 seat, and that is it if they want a filibuster-proof majority. Republicans have 35 seats and the Patriot Party has 4 seats, with 2 seats still too close to call, that being Idaho and Indiana, and 1 seat going off to runoff, that being in Louisiana. We now have some governor projections out of California. Gavin Newsom is the projected winner, defeating Tom Steyer in the general. Out of the Hawaii governor race, Kirk Caldwell is the projected winner. What shocked many people is that Tulsi Gabbard ran under the Patriot Party. Many Democrats criticized her for this, which is why she didn't do so well in Hawaii, possibly. Out of Idaho's governor race, after Janice McGetchen threw a challenge from the Patriot Party, Brad Little just too popular in the state. He will go on to win re-election by a safe margin. Out of the Oregon governor race, despite his unpopularity, Ted Wheeler is the projected winner, expected to win this seat by around 52 points. Or excuse me, by 52%. We now have a call of the Nebraska governor race that is a gain for the Patriot Party. Dave Heineman will go on to serve another term, his 3rd term as governor, which is big news for the Patriot Party and big news for Nebraskans, who Dave Heineman is very popular in the state. As South Dakota's governor race, Kristi Noem is the projected winner. She will go on to win re-election. Here's the current governor map so far. We have 30 Democrats running in the governorships, 13 Republicans, and 6 Patriots, with 0 seats too close to call. It is now 1 a.m. We have poll closings out of Alaska. Remember, they have 4 candidates with ranked choice voting implemented, and out of the Alaska Senate race, 2 close to call, with Lisa Murkowski is at 24%, Al Gross at 23%, Kelly Tishabaka at 39%, and John Ho at 4%. John Ho will be eliminated, as we are now going to count those votes. And out of the governor races so far, the Patriot Party came in 4th, so their votes will be split off amongst the 3 candidates. And Mike Dunleavy is at 38%, Mark Begich under the Democrat Party is at 30%, and Bill Walker with the Independent Party at 28%. So Republicans are hoping to keep on to the seat. It is now 1:32 a.m. We can make a projection out of the state of Idaho, a gain for the Patriot Party. Raul Labrador will go on to the Senate, defeating out Mike Crapo, which many Republicans criticized for his establishmentarian ways in the Senate, his swamp-esque, his swamp monster past. So Raul Labrador kind of threw his hat in this ring once the Patriot Party was announced, and he is going to win narrowly. It is now 2 a.m. We have updates out of the Alaska races, out of the Alaska Senate race. Kelly Tishabaka hit 40%, and Lisa Murkowski, after what many never-Trump Republicans were hoping would be her night, she will go on to have her votes reallocated to Al Gross and Kelly Tishabaka, which the Patriot Party may need to worry about that a little bit, as it could cause Al Gross to win the Senate seat if many Murkowski voters went to Gross instead of Tishabaka. And out of the governor race, we can't make a projection yet, though Dunleavy's at 40%. And Bill Walker will have his votes allocated to the 2 candidates, which could spell bad news for Dunleavy. We don't know yet, as we're now counting the votes right now. It is now 2:15. We can make a major projection out of Indiana. Jim Banks will go on to flip the seat to the Patriot Party, which is good news for them. Jim Banks will go on to the Senate, to many of the America First Coalition's joy. It's now 3 a.m. We can make some major projections out of Alaska. Kelly Tishabaka will go on to serve this seat. She has won 56% of the vote at the final allocation, the final round of voting, I guess you can say. And this is a gain for the Patriot Party. Good news for Tishabaka. Though I can't say the same thing out of the governor race, as Mark Begich winning narrowly, 51% to 49%. Mike Dunleavy barely lost to Mark Begich this time, as he will go on to serve as Alaska's next governor, which is a gain for Democrats. It is now November 22nd, 2022. We now have the results from the Louisiana runoff, and no surprise here, John Neely Kennedy will go on to win this race, winning by around 9 points. John Bel Edwards was popular, just not popular enough to unseat an incumbent senator, and he will go on to keep the seat for the Patriot Party. Here is the final Senate map thus far. We have 57 Democrats, 35 Republicans, and 8 Patriots. However, after some senators switched parties, we now have 26 Republicans, 57 Democrats, and 17 Patriots. And, of course, the Patriot Party will go on, and it has been decided the Patriot Party will be allowed to partake in committee assignments, whether or not they want to caucus with Republicans or not. And out of the governor races, here's the map thus far, and after allocation, we can project that there will be 11 Republican governors, 31 Democrat governors, and 8 Patriot governors. I thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the Chaotic One saying peace, and don't forget to follow my Twitter at Chaotic Politics.